In this part of the course, we're going to investigate how to create and model a stormwater management pond, or SWM for short. And this pond's going to be in between multiple corridors in an infield area of an interchange. We're going to use some of the tools and techniques that we used in part one of this course. And the layout for the pond is shown here in the plan view. So you can see I have some corridors here that the pond's going to be in between. And then down here at the bottom of the screen, I have a typical section of our pond. So this is what we're going to model in this portion of the course. So to begin, we're going to be in Open Roads Designer again. We're going to be using the Training and Examples workspace as well as the Training Imperial workset. And we're going to go and browse to our Site Modeling and Non-Corridor Modeling folder. And we're going to go and find our grading infield for ramp A. And we're going to open that DGN file. And once the drawing opens, you'll see I have some views already set up for us here. I got my plan view over here in view number 1. And you can see my infield grading has already been created. This is just a terrain model with my correct drainage pattern that I want to work inside of my infield area here. So that's been set up for us. We have the perimeter of the controlling water elevation of our pond. Over here in 3D, we have the 3D model, so you can see the different corridors where the infield area is, as well as where the pond is going to be created and modeled. We have Ramp A, London Road, and the State Route 97 corridor here. And then down here in view number 4, we have a profile model created for our pond. Now we haven't actually modeled the pond yet or assigned any elevation, or we don't have any profile yet. What you see here is just the proposed ground or the infield area ground from the terrain model here. So the first thing we need to do is create the pond water elevation. We need to create the profile for the pond water elevation and assign that to our pond water element here. So we're going to do that using the create profile by constant elevation tool, which we used in the first portion of the course. So to do that, we're going to go to geometry. We're going to come over to the vertical geometry tools, and we're going to go to profile by constant elevation. And we're going to be using a constant elevation of 154. And we want to set our feature definition to be site pond. So let's select site pond and then key in a name pond water for our feature name. And then from here we want to select our pond water element. And we're going to reset to end. And then our elevation that we're going to use for our water or controlling water elevation for our pond is going to be 154. So we're going to key in 154 and press enter. And then we're going to left click to accept. And then down here in view number 4, we want to fit our view so we can see that the pond water profile is indeed created here in the profile model. Now to get this to show up in the 3D model, we need to set the profile as the active profile. So I'm just going to go to my element selection tool here, select my profile, and then set it as the active profile. And then now it'll display in my 3D model over here. So we got my 3D feature of my pond, I got my profile of my pond, and I have my horizontal geometry of my pond element. Now from here we need to define the grading and actually model the pond. We need to define the bottom of the pond, we need to define the freeboard, we need to define the pond berm, and all the design elements that go into modeling the pond. And we're going to do this by utilizing linear templates. We're going to apply a linear template to our pond element here so that we can model some of the pond elements and the grading features that we need. So first let's review the template that we're going to use and apply to this particular pond element. So we're going to go up to corridors, I'm going to go into the template tool here, and you want to make sure you have the site modeling template library open. So I'm going to open up my site modeling template library. And we're using a template called pond grading. If we take a look at the pond grading, you can see here the design parameters for the pond grading. The pond bottom is set 4 feet below the water elevation. pond side slopes are going to be 3 to 1 from the water elevation to the bottom of the pond. And then we're going to have 4 to 1 slopes from the freeboard to the water elevation. And then we'll also have a 12-foot wide 2% berm. And then we'll have 8 to 1 slopes for our cut and fill at the outer edges of the pond. So that's how the template is set up for this particular pond, and the origin point here is at the water elevation. So we're going to take this particular template and apply it to this pond element that we have created. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we're going to go to our linear templates because we're going to apply this as a linear template to our pond element. We're going to go up to Model Detailing. We're going to select Apply Linear Template. We're going to locate our pond water element. I'm going to press the Alt down arrow to make sure we select our pond grading from our template library. You can see the preview here. And I'm going to left click to accept. And I'll left click to accept the template. Starting station is going to be 0 plus 0, 0. So I'm just going to press Alt on my keyboard to lock in the starting station and press Alt on my keyboard to lock in the ending station. My reflection side, I want the pond to reflect to the inside of the pond element. So I'm going to left click to accept that. You can see the temporary graphics get placed here showing you the direction of the linear template. Going to left click to accept the exterior sweep angle. And then for the description, I'm just going to put pond grading for my description. And then we're going to left click to accept. And you can see the pond is created in the 3D model. As you can see over here, here's all my grading elements are created. And also in the 2D view over here, you can see the 3D model that's been referenced in, as well as the graphical manipulators and handlers for the actual linear template itself. So once you're done, you can close the linear template tool. And we're going to go into the reference files here real quick. We want to toggle off the 3D reference in our 2D view here. So let's make sure view 1 is active and turn off the display of the 3D model that's present in the view number 1 here. Okay, now before we continue, I want to turn off the construction elements so we can better see our linear features that were created, or our template geometry that was created in the 2D plan view. So I'm just going to go up to the view attributes and turn off the construction elements so you can see the different features that were created from the template. So here we have our construction limit, our pond berm tie down point, we have our pond berm inside feature, we have our pond freeboard, and then we have the pond bottom template feature. So all these were created from template geometry and are drawn in the 2D plan view. And in the 3D view, we have the 3D components and the meshes for the 3D model. So at this point, all we've really done is create the linear features and the 3D components of the pond. But a lot of times it's necessary to create a terrain model so that we can view the contours, analyze drainage patterns, as well as analyzing the volumes of the pond. So the next thing we want to take a look at is creating the pond terrain model, which is what we'll take a look at in our next video.